All right. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining our HubSpot User Group Sales Enablement Workshop. And today's session, we are going to be focusing on 7 of HubSpot's latest sales workspace updates that will help your sales team work faster, be more focused, and win more deals. Before we get started with the presentation, just a reminder, if you haven't joined our HubSpot Sales Enablement LinkedIn community yet, there's a QR code up on the screen if you want to quickly scan and connect. I also have the link to the group in the chat. We'll also have the QR code at the end of the presentation as well. Before we jump in, we will have questions. We will have a Q&A round at the end of the presentation. But if you have any questions that come up during the demo, feel free to just pop them in the chat, and I will try my best to monitor the questions and bring them up to the speakers as they go through the demo.
I've also opened up the Q&A. If you want to drop questions in there, you can use that. If you have a question for the end, feel free to drop it in the Q&A as well.
All right. So can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. Let's start with introducing our speakers. So we have Erica here and Zach. Do you guys want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everyone. My name is Erica. I am the Revenue Operations Manager at Flawless Inbound and our parent company, GSI. I have been working in HubSpot as a HubSpot admin type role for close to 8 years now. So I have a ton of experience in the platform and with managing processes, in particular sales processes, in the HubSpot platform. So I'm really excited to bring some updates on the sales workspace and all the tools in there.
Hey everyone, I'm Zach Irish. I'm a solutions consultant here at Flawless Inbound. I have about 9 years of experience in HubSpot. I started first on the admin side as just a user of HubSpot. Grew our platform from, I think we just had Marketing Pro at the time, to Enterprise Everything. And then I joined a partner a couple of years ago, and I've been at Flawless for almost 6 months now. So I have experience, and I'm also happy to talk about HubSpot. And I used to be a sales rep myself, so I have a little experience of how these tools are actually used in the field.
Thank you. All right, so today, primarily, we're going to be talking about the sales workspace, but I wanted to start with, and I'll probably just linger on this for a moment while we try and give some people a little bit extra time to jump on. But I wanted to go over why we're talking about the sales workspace. So in April of this year, HubSpot rolled out hundreds of new product updates, tools, new betas to test, as part of their spring spotlight, which is the second time in the year, the first, or second being inbound in September, that they roll out a large group of updates. And the goal of spring spotlight this year was helping you work faster. So all of the updates were centered around working faster and more efficiently in the HubSpot platform. And so because we are the Sales Enablement Hub, we wanted to talk about one of the Work Faster updates that has been ongoing in terms of improvements and optimizations for probably the last year or more, which is the Sales Workspace. So we're going to do a deep dive into some of those tools today. The Sales Workspace is essentially a sales team command center, a single space for a sales team to work from, where they can organize their day, their prospects, their leads, their target accounts. They can access time-saving automation and AI tools, and they can just focus on smarter, more educated selling and closing those deals faster. So that's what we're going to be diving into today. We're going to do primarily live demoing, but first I just have a couple of slides on what the specific tools we're going to go over are. So you want to jump to the next slide. Good morning, everyone who has joined us since. Welcome. So yeah, like I said, the workspace, it's one stop with all the tools that a sales team needs. You've got your tasks and your schedule, you've got target accounts, you've got leads, your deals pipeline, deals in progress, everything just in one place for a team to work from all day. And it's an easy space for them to get the most out of their day. So The question that we're going to be thinking about today, or we hope that you're thinking about as we go along with this presentation, is your sales team making the most of Sales Workspace, or are they just getting by with either Sales Workspace or some of the other tools kind of cobbled together? So have that in mind as we go. And for everyone joining us just now, the chat is open. So good morning, hello. Please feel free to drop anything that any comments you have in there. We also have the Q&A open. I should find that on the bottom, I believe. So feel free to add questions for the end, or if Shani will bring them up during the presentation if they are relevant as well. All right, so next, workspace tools. So these are 3 things that we're going to demo for you today. Target accounts. Target accounts are exactly what they sound like. They are your target accounts, sometimes referred to as ABM accounts. But these are accounts that sales reps can zero in on. These specific companies, get all the data they need about them, do all the research they need about them, add the buying groups to them, just be able to focus on their specific accounts that they want to win in whatever time frame they are working on. We also have leads. This is the tool that allows reps to manage and reach out to their highest priority leads quickly and effectively, including enrolling them in sequences and the prospecting agent, which we will get to. And deals. It's a single space to view and manage owned deals with added insights to help your sales team move those deals along quickly. So those are the workspace tools that we're going to demo. And then on the next slide, we're also going to demo some AI tools. So we're going to be demoing the prospecting agent. This is an AI tool designed to speed up outbound prospecting by taking over some of that manual outreach and that early email activity. We're going to look at meeting prep. It's a convenient way for your sales reps to get prepared for upcoming meetings without having to manually dig through all of the records and the previous activities. Especially this is useful when you have a new rep taking over, or maybe you have a BDR and they're sending the meeting to a rep. So that is a useful place for that tool. And then lastly, we'll have a quick look at lookalikes. Lookalikes is a new tool that was released during Spring Spotlight, which is a way to generate a list of potential new target accounts based on those you already have in your existing database. So I believe that is the final slide for our overview. Yes, and so now we're going to jump into our live demo. And I'm going to hand it over to Zach to start with the workspace tools.
Yes, thank you. And as I'm pulling this up, I have a request for everyone. If you could put in the chat how many years you all have been in the Sales Hub. So Sales Hub specifically, really just trying to find out if you all have used this pre-Sales Workspace, and then how many iterations of the Sales Workspace have you seen? So if you could put that in the chat. Year, 2 months, 7 years. Okay, all over the place. That's awesome. That's perfect. I asked this 7 years ago. So Taylor, 7 years ago, we didn't have Sales Workspace at all. We were working out of deals. We were working out of the contact record, the company record. We had activities in there, sequences, templates. Everything was very segmented and separate. So this is one of the things Erica mentioned earlier. We wanted to bring HubSpot wanted to bring everything into one place so we can work faster. So those that have been on HubSpot 2 months, maybe 1 year, this Sales Workspace is a great tool. Everything is in one place. And we, on the partner side, when we work with clients, if they're newer to HubSpot, we try to push the Sales Workspace. Use this tool, get in here, get your sales reps acclimated with this. We find people that have been on HubSpot for a few years and already have an established process in the deals. It's harder to migrate them over because HubSpot is rolling this out in different segments. So the demo I'm going to do today, it could be the next week HubSpot has a new update and this is completely different. And I think that's great. We need to have this be a little bit more than what it is today. So as I go through this, I'm going to be a little bit critical of things that my clients and myself, we've noticed that we want to improve on. There was a Sales Workspace open feedback yesterday with HubSpot where a lot of this was surfaced, and HubSpot is consistently working on this and trying to make it better. So share that feedback with HubSpot. If you're in the chat today and I'm going through something, share that feedback with me. I'd like to know what you're seeing because it helps me, number one, helps our clients, and we may be able to help each other of workarounds to make this process. I see a couple of people in the chat that are kind of going through the same thing as well.
Yeah, and Zach, full transparency for the chat. we ourselves internally are in process of moving our team into Sales Workspace. So we have been in the trenches of this particular process. If you are an older user who wants people to move in, we are internally have been through that and are continuously going through that. As we add new team members, we are having them use the workspace, but getting the other team members who have been on HubSpot for years is something that we are working on internally as well. So, we really know all of the ins and outs of getting those people moved over.
Yep, and same with the lead object. I think the lead object is amazing, and if you all have questions or thoughts on it, please throw it in the chat or the Q&A, and if we have time at the end, I can talk for the entire time about the lead object. It's amazing, but getting from your previous process, your established process, and introducing something new in there, it's really hard to change. So for new orgs coming in, great, amazing, let's set up and have it from day one. The migration, the change management is a little difficult. So we're here in the Sales Workspace. As a reminder for everyone that's over here on the left under Sales, Sales Workspace, I have mine bookmarked. You go directly to the summary page. One thing I love is you can view other people. So if you're a sales manager or your leadership and you'd like to see what does this specific person's calendar, deals, what does their page look like? What are they trying to diagnose? What are their tasks? You can go directly there. I think that's amazing. For yourself, I would like to see a little bit more customization with this page. I think out of the box, we have our tasks right here. That's great. We have it segmented by calls, emails, LinkedIn, to-dos. We have some basic filters right here for all tasks due today, overdue, due tomorrow. HubSpot has this new task tab where we can do a little bit more breakdown of maybe what's due next week or what was due yesterday, but this basic has just these 4 filters. If we had anything actively in a sequence, we would see that there. I already like this. I think we're a little limited with our segmentation as well when we could see the sequences, and this is our demo portal, so I don't have anything here. But just the fact that our sequences are here and not having to go to this separate tab to see sequence performance or who's actively in there, I think is a great first step, but I think we're going to see some more iterations of this. Guided activities. I'm not a huge fan of this. This is also my demo portal, so I don't have a lot to show you what this would look like, but it would give you updates of check on this, look at prospects, look at this lead, look at this deal, follow up on this email. I think it's a good start as Breeze and AI is a little bit more into our actions. I think this is going to be overall much better. Over here on the right, we have our calendar. So if your calendar is integrated, you'll see your schedule there, which I have nothing on mine because this is my demo calendar. Our insights here, this is like a pulse dashboard. HubSpot has this new dashboard tab that is much better and you can customize, but I think for a high level, this is fine. We have some filters for timeline. We have some reporting on our meetings, activities, and our active leads.
Zach, quick question from the chat. Why are you not a fan of the guided actions?
Yes, I don't. It's kind of my same issue I have. We have fireflies internally. That's how we have to track our meetings, and it gives us actions and actionables from our meetings. I think sometimes it gives us actions that aren't really actions. We talked about something on the phone, or we mentioned something in email, and it says, hey, you have to send this over. You have to do this action. It's like, that's not really a task or an action. And then it misses some things as well. So if I relied on this, I would forget a lot of things and I would have stuff on my to-do list that really isn't a to-do list. So I think manually now we should still track this. I think in the future, this could be better where it's like, hey, you meant to send this email last week, or you need to have this SOW prepped for tomorrow. For now, I think we're just kind of basic. Yes, I do think they will improve the AI, Aaron. It's getting there. It's still looking at some of our actions in here, and it's definitely better than nothing, but it's not something that I want to rely on right now, just like I'm not going to rely on Fireflies or Gong or any of the note takers I have on there. I'd like to look at the transcript and my own notes over that summary. All right, I'm going to move over to our prospects now. So if I'm a sales rep, I have the summary page. That's great. That's a pulse. I really think the summary page is more for my manager to see what's going on here. If I'm a sales rep, the prospecting page is really where I want to spend my time. Sales rep, BDR, I need to go find new business. And so prospecting here, we have a breakdown of target accounts and we have leads. Depending on your business or if you have clients, their business, it's all going to be different. B2B, B2C, their strategy for sales is going to be different, whether they're assigned accounts, whether they have a target area, whether inbound leads come to them and automatically assign leads. That's all going to be different. If we think high level, target accounts, these are the accounts I want. Maybe I don't necessarily know who the points of contact in here are. Maybe I do know. I just don't have any active deals right now. And I also don't have a lead because they're not really showing interest to me. So I'm just targeting them. I'm going after them. I can set target accounts directly from here. So I can just add them. And if I already have the company name, I can add them in there. I would love if I could create a brand new company in here and add them. They already have to be in the system. So that's a bit of a workaround for now. It also defaults to me, so you can grab someone else, but I don't have a lot of other filters here. So I either have to know the name of the company, has to already be in HubSpot, or it's assigned to me. So that's one way. We can also set workflows on the back end to automatically set target account. And the target account designation is just a property. So if I hit edit columns here, these are contact properties. I can add target accounts, and let me slide it up to the top. And you'll see all of these just say true, true, false. So we can set workflows in the back end that say if they meet this criteria, true target account equals true. And then just assign that company ownership to the SDR, the BDR, or their sales rep, whatever you call them. So in this case, the University of Illinois is a target account and it's assigned to me, which is why it shows up here in my feed. We don't have views yet in target accounts. This is just a beta. So still not ideal. We're probably still jumping back and forth between the company page if we are prospecting directly to companies. Eric, are you going to cover the agent research or should I cover that now?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So this is a newer thing, and this is really cool. Let's get this off of my screen there. Say I want to prospect this company. I really don't know anything about this company. We can do brief research, and it doesn't take very long. It's going to summarize this. And it's still working on it. So a little research there in the background. We can customize this screen. So we click onto the company, we can see those properties. So it looks like this may be an issue in the chat right now. It's flipping back and forth between the company page and the contact page to see this information. We can customize this sidebar. So we can put any property we would like in here, any activity, internal stakeholders, very customizable.
I would also say one of the new things you can do in HubSpot, newer things, is a sync property. So if there is company information that you, or especially with the leads, I think more so even the target accounts, but if there is a property on the contact record that you want to see on the lead record, creating a sync property just to send that information over so that it's visible is it's a property type. When you're building a property, you just select that, you select the contact property you want, and it just syncs the exact same data over. That's been useful for us with getting that information.
Yep. So here we have the research. It's done. And I think this is great to get a background on what is this company? What do they do? What I would like to do is be able to prompt it a little bit. I sell this, or I'm trying to offer this, or these are my services. Where's an opportunity here? What can I talk about? But this is at least enough that I could call this company and have a background on what they do and how they fit my market. And I can make a more targeted approach than just a cold email that doesn't have any information on it. Same thing with an email. I can email directly from here, and I know kind of the background of the company. Buying committee, I like this. I want to add contacts and designate who is the decision maker, who are champions, who are blockers, and have everything mapped out right here. And then our activities. Are we already emailing, calling, taking notes for this particular target account? So those are target accounts. How internally I would love for us to look at this. We're not there yet, but assign target accounts. These are personas we've created. These are target accounts we have. Set them here. Go in there, research these companies, find the people we want to talk to, and then create those people as leads. We would also love to automate, as we have inbound requests, form fills, ads, create those as leads as well. I think we do have that internally right now, but leads are the individual people. You can make company leads. I prefer to make leads as contacts and then target them individually. So we click on the lead. We can also customize this view somewhat. That's a little hold up for me, as well as the customization on this leads pop-up is not as robust as going to the individual object. But we have enough information that I could call directly from here, or email directly from here. I can also move them through the stage too. We can make views here, so we can save our columns and our filters and make a view. Those views will pop up down here. You can't move the views. So this connected, I can't move it above the attempting. So if I start to make 10 plus views, let's just make sure we do them in order. I'm sure this will be fixed quickly. Not a huge deal, but some limitations there. One thing I like about tasks is tasks, you can start a queue. So now we can do that with the leads. We can have this queue. So I'm a BDR, I'm coming in, I have these open leads, say I have 75, and my job today is to call, email every single one of them. I want to touch these leads. So I can click Start All. I think this is an even improved view of the task, where the task would take us from object to object to object and completely refresh the screen. This is a lot faster. It's very snappy, and we have enough information on the right to initiate this communication. My complaint hesitation here is it defaults to creating an email. And if we want to do a phone call, we have to swap this activity over. Right now, we don't have a way to make phone call our default, or to start a queue of this group are all calls, this group is all email. We have to swap back and forth there. But outside of that, I love this. I think this is great. So let's go back to leads. Let's jump over. So this is all prospecting. This is us trying to initiate business, to schedule the first call or kick off the deal, whatever that looks like for your business. Then we have deals. Deals, we have some preset views. We also have access to all the saved views we already have built over on the deal board. I think that's great. A glaring limitation we have right here is we have list view. Erica, the deals board view, that's beta right now, correct?
It's not official beta, so HubSpot has let the admin community know that the board view for deals is in progress somewhere for this view. So perhaps you know, I don't know the details on where that's at, but hopefully it will be in beta or released soon. But that was the latest that we heard actually yesterday at the admin group, is that there is a board view coming.
Yep. And I also think there's a leads board view as well, because I don't have a lead board right now. I don't really think about it. I think the list is fine. And if you start the kind of the queue right here, it's okay. But people have requested the board view. So I think that would also come as well. For now, the deal as a list view, we just talked about it earlier in the call. It's really hard to get our team to use the sales workspace because they're used to that deal board. It's also that's something that's really hard for me to get used to. So I think this list view is fine. I think these views are serviceable right now. We can still filter here. We can do functionally anything we could do on the board view from the deal board, the deal object. but I just like that board view, so it's really hard for me to think about this. Clicking into it, I do like that we aren't redirected to the entire object. We can kind of quickly look through these deals. So if you have deal review with a manager and a rep, we can customize this view and they can quickly go through these deals and see where they're at. We can add different stages here, forecasting here. Again, everything we can do in the deal board view, we can do here. This is going to get better and UI will be a little bit easier. Jumping to our tasks, I do like this. So previously in the sales workspace, the task was essentially that summary page where we could click due today, overdue, and upcoming. Here we can actually set filters and we can create views. I think we have the same limitation. If we create a view for task due next week, and then we keep creating more views, we can't rearrange the order here or remove them from our view. They'll still filter through. But we can at least segment, create views, make our queue right here. So I think actually this task view page is better than going to CRM, task, and clicking from there. So I like this a lot. I also believe when we start a task, we have this improved UI. And here, if it's an email task, it defaults to email. If it's a call task, it defaults to call. So that may be a workaround if you're on that lead screen and you prefer to start with a call or with an email. Create a sequence, and the sequence could have that first action as a task. It is a little bit backwards because you'll be on that lead view, enroll everyone in the sequence, and then come to your tasks and then start to initiate from there. But it could save you from having to click between the different activities right there. And you're ultimately on the same screen. Okay, and then the last few, schedule. So this is just your calendar. I think this is definitely an improvement, as before we didn't really have this. We just had the small preview. Me personally, I still just go to my calendar. I have my email opened up already. So I think that's better, but still, it's nice to see this here in HubSpot. Our feed, this is the same feed we've been seeing for a while. So opens and clicks and activities on our deals and notes and mentions internally, everything is here in the same spot. And then dashboard. I love this. I don't know why, but in all of my years of experience with dashboards and reporting and helping other users use HubSpot, for some reason, going down here to reporting and clicking on dashboards and then going through the dashboard list, it's just been really hard for people to find the dashboards. So with just this one dashboard tab, and I'm going to remove this one, your users can set a single dashboard, and this is the one they focus on. So if you're a sales manager and you have a list of reps, you create a dashboard either for your entire team that you want them to see, or you want one for your specific rep, BDR, AE. This is their dashboard. This is where they need to look for all of their information. Fully visible here. We don't have to click through different dashboards. They are already in the sales workspace and they can see all of their reporting. All of the flexibility we have with reports, with our dashboards we have here. It just renders in here and it looks great. So I am a big fan of this. I think this robust reporting is certainly better than the summary page because you can customize it to yourself. But I am curious what they would improve on this because, again, I already think it's pretty great. Okay.
I see a question in the chat about sales reps and dashboards. I believe that is permission dependent. So if they could, if they had permission to create reports and do that kind of thing, I don't think that it has anything to do with the workspace versus the dashboard. I think it's all about whether or not they have reporting permissions.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, it's on the regular dashboard. And I see Aaron just announced that they're going to have more dashboards coming out, so you can swap through. We'll still set the default. But this is, if we wanted to edit this dashboard and maybe clone it, it just takes us over to this dashboard view screen as well.
So you will see the dashboards that you have on the sales workspace as dashboards in your regular dashboard view as well.
It's the same thing. So if I edit this on the dashboard and then I'm in my sales workspace, we'll see that that change. Okay, that is the workspace. I think I'm going to hand it over to Erica for AI tools. Is that right, Erica?
Absolutely.
Okay, all you.
All right, thank you, everyone. You're gonna have to excuse, I'm gonna be looking this way. My other screen is just over here where I have my demo up. So I'm going to just be glancing over at this screen while I share. Let me just pop in here. Okay. All right. So I am just on main page of the workspace here. And I'm going to go over a couple of AI tools. The first one I think is maybe out of order from the slides, but first one, just because it is here already on the workspace, is the meeting prep. So I have a couple of meetings. So I saw on Zach's screen there weren't any guided actions. I have a couple of demo meetings set up here so that I can show this. But this is how the guided actions would look when you do have activity in here. So prepare for meetings, follow up on meetings, and capture email conversations. Like Zach said, the guided actions are an AI tool. Take them with a grain of salt, as with any AI tool. But I think once you drill into meeting prep, which you can also do from your schedule by going directly to the meeting, that is a useful AI tool. So whether or not you like the guided actions, from your schedule, the AI meeting prep is quite useful. So, and also, pardon my slow loading screen here. That is an internet issue. All right, so when I'm in my schedule over on this side, I can see the upcoming meetings that I have. So let's jump into this call that I have created. And then once I click into this meeting, I'm going to get basically a object page for the meeting in the same way that you might look at a contact object. So this is the individual meetings detail page. And you can come in here whether the meeting is completed or upcoming. So if the meeting is completed, you can see things like the recording and the transcript. You can see the outcome of the call. But if you're preparing for the meeting, when you come in here, you can see this one's still scheduled. Here I can see a bunch of meeting prep help. And so what I have is I have the internal notes that I set when I created the call. I have the meeting description. And I have some talking points that have been recommended. You can see the little AI tool recommended by Breeze AI. And so these are based on all of the associated activities, companies, and customers starting from the date that some of this stuff was initially created. So this is what it thinks I need to talk about based on everything that I've already spoken about with this contact. Again, as always, this is AI generated, as with any LLM ever. Take this with a grain of salt. But I think this is helpful to review what you might need to say. So we know that there are manual lead follow-up issues. This client of ours is having issues with manual lead follow-up because we've talked about that in previous calls, in notes on the record, in emails. They have a lack of pipeline visibility and they have inefficient reporting because their current CRM is outdated. So these are some things that we might want to discuss as a rep on this call. We might want to talk about implementing automated follow-up. We might want to talk about introducing real-time pipeline visibility. And we might want to talk about upgrading to an integrated CRM solution. So those are some talking points. And then if you want to review the activities, and this is one of my favorite parts, because typically what you'd have to do if you're prepping for a meeting is you'd have to go to the contact record. So you'd have to go over to Mark here, click on that contact record, and then sort through all of the previous activities and try to figure out the context of all of the emails or calls or notes or anything that was on that record to see what had previously happened. And this is especially true if you are a BDR or an ISR, inside sales rep, a business development rep, who is scheduling meetings on behalf of salespeople. You might have had all of the communication, and now you're passing this meeting off to a salesperson who needs to go and look at all of the context for that meeting, but they're now going to have to go to that contact record and the company record and the other associated deal records and dig through everything in there to figure out what was previously discussed. But now they can come in here, they can see your internal notes really quickly. What did you say this call was about? What did they have to know? The meeting description, and then down here, all of the recent activity. So you can see at a glance with a summary what happened in all of the previous interactions with that contact. So it makes it pretty simple for someone to come in and at a glance understand what went down. By clicking into here, you can open up the record and see the full detail, like the full email or the full call log, which I think is really helpful to understand what's been going on with your contacts. So that is primarily the meeting prep. Now, this is a fun note for a coming soon / beta. Up here, you see the join meeting button. If you do have Teams, and again, it's our demo portal, so it's not linked here, but if you do have Teams or Zoom connected to HubSpot, you can start your meeting from here. You can join the call directly from this meeting board instead of having to go to Outlook or whatever other space. Now, the extra fun beta that we don't have here, but I will talk about, is that HubSpot has now in beta its own call description note taker. So like your Fireflies, like your Gong, like your Fathom, HubSpot has its own built-in note taker that is in a private beta. You can request to join, but it may not. I know there's a waiting list for it, so I can't guarantee about anybody getting in, but there is a private beta that you can join to test out the HubSpot note taker, which will join all of your meetings with you. So you can have all of those notes taken and all those transcripts and those summaries by your HubSpot note taker right here when you join the call from the workspace. So I think that that is pretty neat. And so that's the meeting one. Again, with the follow-up, same thing. You can take notes, you can adjust whatever you want based on the call, and you'll just see the outcome as whatever it actually was. And you'll, of course, see the actual recording and transcript of that call when you look at follow-up actions. If you have like follow-up tasks and stuff, you can get that going from the workspace as well. So the next AI tool that I was going to overview is the prospecting agent. So I actually have that open in a different tab. That one you can get from the workspace, and I'll come back to it. But to set up your prospecting agent, you just go into sales and it's right there. So prospecting agent is the AI emailer. And basically what the prospecting agent does is it sends personalized cold emails to your target leads or customers, and it can send like in different sequences and stuff, so that you don't have to go through all of that cold email. Now, not to worry, you can approve all of it. It is not necessarily something that, you know, it's just going to send emails. You can put it in autonomous mode, but you can approve every email that goes out. It just does the writing for you and the personalization for you, based on what it knows about that company and based on how you've set up your agent. So we already have an agent set up in here, so you'll see this when you do have one. But if you didn't have an agent set up, you'd probably see something like create agent. And then you would come into here where you can set up your selling profiles. You can have a whole bunch of different selling profiles, and every time you enroll someone to the agent, they can have a different selling profile. So I've seen a lot of questions about, you know, different agents for different locations, for different reps. Right now, you can only have one prospecting agent, but you can have multiple selling profiles, which is a really good workaround for that. It would be great to have multiple agents, but each selling profile has its own. Then you wouldn't have to, you know, choose manually which one, but each selling profile does have its own unique setup. And so I will show this one. So this is an example of a selling profile. For each selling profile, this is all going to be different. So it has its own identity, which is to send from a user. So we have it sending from Zach, or a contact owner. And then, of course, the tone. So do you want it to be professional, helpful, witty, formal, optimistic, and then brand voice. So you can set up your voice. You can train this agent on your brand voice using your actual content, and it will then send with your brand voice. So you use writing samples, and it'll learn your voice over time. Each agent also has sources and training. So each agent, you can also set up which company website you would like to train it on. So we've got our website here. And of course, you can customize all of this if it gets it wrong, or if there's something you'd like to change about the way that this profile works in terms of industries and products and all of those things. You can set a call to action. You can, so what do you want it to do? Request to book a meeting, URL, use a document. You can have a look at how long you want the emails to be and how you kind of want it to work. And of course, your business hours as well. Here's where you also set each profile as autonomous or semi-autonomous. Semi-autonomous means it's going to research, it's going to write, but you will review before sending. That is our recommendation. To do this. I mean, unless you're very, very confident in your fully autonomous emailer, we recommend semi-autonomous. So once you have your agent ready to go, you'll see it does, you can enroll your contacts. You can also do that from the sales workspace. So when you're looking at a lead, you can enroll them into the agent. And I can show you that as well, but it's just one of the actions that you can choose on the lead record. And so let's see, this one has already prepared some emails for Mark, who I had the meeting with earlier. So let's review what it's done. So when you click on review emails, you then have your list of all of the emails that the agent has written for that particular person based on research about that company, previous activities in the CRM with that contact, as well as the selling profile that you set up and what you were trying to sell. So you can see that it has asked a few questions about specific things that we are talking about. So integrating CRM with NetSuite, that was something that we had talked with Mark, who's again a fake person in the demo portal, about in our meeting. So it remembers that from the record and it has added that there. And of course, because Zach was the person in the selling agent, then he's the sender. And then you have the delay and all of the other emails. So you have these 3 emails that are going to go out. You can view the research evidence. So you can have a look at why it decided to say the things that it did. So that's helpful for a lot of people who are not certain about some decisions that the AI might be making. You can add research as a note. So if you would like to add additional context to that specific chain of emails, you can just click on this and add a note, and it will then include that in its research. You can also edit the emails directly from here. So if you don't want to, if you don't want to say like NetSuite, if you just want to say with ERP systems or something, you can simply just edit them directly. When you click Start Outreach, then it will begin sending those emails at the cadence that you see here to that particular prospect. When they reply...
We've had a question from the chat.
Yes.
Yeah, is prospecting agent different from sequences? Can a contact be enrolled in both?
Yeah, a contact can be enrolled in both, but I would be careful because that's emails, sending the same email to somebody more than once. It is different than sequences in that the prospecting agent only does cold emails, whereas sequences, you can include automated emails, templated emails in a sequence, but the idea of a sequence is primarily to have a whole bunch of actions. So, send this email, make a call, complete this task, personalize this email, something a little farther down the line. The prospecting agent is sort of designed for that very first initial reach out. Something that we do see people do is use the prospecting agent to gauge interest and then enroll in a sequence. So basically you send, the handoff happens. So when somebody replies to one of these emails, yes, you get sent to the real person. These are not live chats, they're emails. So it's not really like a live handoff, but this does, the owner or the person who was enrolling people can be notified when there's a response to these emails, and they do get unenrolled from the prospecting agent when the response happens. So yeah, we would usually recommend that this goes first, followed by sequences, but it is kind of up to you. There are a lot of tools that sort of have some overlap like that. And there's always marketing emails as well, right? So it's just something to be aware of. Where are your prospects enrolled? Oh yeah, the prospecting agent beta. I will show you how to opt into all betas momentarily. But you do find that in the product updates section, which I will show before I close out my presentation. But the prospecting agent lastly has a, oh, yeah, I don't need to save my changes. The prospecting agent lastly has an analyze tab where you can see the total enrollments, the number delivered, opened, clicked, and replies. And then anything that needs to be reviewed for sending. You can also automate enrolling specific leads into the prospecting agent. So basically, you can say when a lead submits a specific form, the prospecting agent will compose an email for them. You can then review that as usual and enroll them. But yeah, it does unenroll, same as a sequence, basically, when there's a response.
Yeah, if you look at that reporting, it looks very similar to the sequences. So I would traditionally look at sequences as a cold outreach tool because you can enroll 200 people, 500 people, depending on your outreach. The prospecting, I think, is a little bit better for that, for the cold outreach. What I would do and what I've recommended to companies is do them both in parallel. So take your group, say we're targeting 1,000 people, put half of them in a sequence, put half of them into the prospecting agent. The sequence, you have your copy using personalization tokens, but the emails are relatively templated. You can customize them a little bit, but you'd want them to be as quick as possible. The prospecting agent is writing a brand new piece of copy, a brand new email for each individual person. So it's more personalized. And so in theory, it should have better open or better clicks, maybe a more targeted subject line. But if you do them side by side, you can compare which one's more effective for your business, which one has a little bit more. And then Analyze tab is a way to measure that.
Yes, and I see two questions. The first one on pulling reports outside of the performance page or the Analyze tab on the prospecting agent. I will need to look into that. So that's something perhaps we can set up, or Zach, if you want to have a look quickly, if you even can do that, that would be great. Otherwise, Michael, I see, how do I change how often these emails go out? 3 days is way too often. Yeah, so that is a current lack of customization with the prospecting agent. I have heard from the feedback sessions with HubSpot that they are aware of that and that they will be working on timeline customization for this. But currently, this is a standard, which is unfortunate because, yeah, 3 days is way too often for a lot of businesses. But that is apparently in progress. And that is, I guess, a reason why for some companies sequences sometimes are preferable, just because of the fact that you can customize the timeline. But I will say they are very much aware of that timeline, and hopefully we'll be making that update.
Yeah, and I'm looking here in reporting. I don't see prospecting agent as one of the data sources we could select, but maybe we can grab it with sales email. I'm going to dig a little further.
Sure. And we will definitely post if we find an answer to that. We'll post that in the LinkedIn group as well if we find out about reporting on the prospecting agent. Otherwise, we'll have our emails as well. I'll drop them in the chat at the end, and feel free to reach out if you need any additional information. Before we run into Q&A here quickly, I would like to just quickly go over the last item, which is the lookalike list. This is a brand new feature from the Spring Spotlight, which is very new to HubSpot. They have recently sort of ventured into some intent and prospecting. I know I just said the prospecting agent, but in like more traditional prospecting sort of activities with some of their Breeze AI tools. And the lookalike lists is one of the ways that they are working on being a little bit similar to some of those outside prospecting tools like ZoomInfo or 6sense. But, this is a very sort of basic version of that. However, I think that for companies that don't have access to some of those other tools, this can be a good way to start. So lookalikes is just found when you're creating a list here. You can... I'm not going to be able to actually create one because I don't have Breeze credits. So I will note that as well. Lookalikes does require Breeze credits. Now, there was a recent HubSpot update that means people get a certain amount of Breeze credits. I believe if you're enterprise, you get 5,000 Breeze credits if you have an enterprise account. I'm not actually sure on the number if there's a pro account, but if you have an enterprise account, you do get 5,000 Breeze AI credits, and you can use those for any of the credit-related activities. You can also purchase credits to use, but the lookalike generation does require credits. So I won't be able to actually generate this list, but the way that it works is that you choose your existing list. So let's say I want to go to this is my ultimate prospecting list, and I can see how many contacts I have in that list, and I can choose how many I want to target based on whether or not I want it to be really specific or really broad matches. So if it's really specific, it thinks it can find 6 additional ones. If I make it really broad, it thinks it can find 129. If I make it somewhere in the middle, 60. If I make it, fairly specific, 32. I can also tell it which contacts not to find lookalikes for. So if I am concerned that there might be a disqualified lead in here, that there might be a partner in here or something like that, I can also say, don't include people who are like that. So I can add those do not add, and there's up to 5 of those. And then I can also ask it to include the seed list members in my final generated list. You have a limit of 10 per month, and when you hit create lookalike, it then will build your list of new companies. These are good options to add to the target accounts feature in the sales workspace. So I can't actually generate because our demo portal unfortunately doesn't have any credits. But you can, when you hit generate, it takes a little bit, and then it brings you a list of new lookalikes to your existing list based on the similar interactions and qualities. So fields like industries and locations, things like that, it looks them up.
We've had a few questions about the lookalike list.
Yeah.
Yes.
So one is just, where do we get access to betas? And then is this lookalikes only in Marketing Hub Enterprise?
It's a good question. I thought lookalikes was for anybody who has lists, but we can check. So where do you find the product updates? And where do you join the betas? This applies to the prospecting agent, to the target accounts, and to the lookalike lists. Is you click on your profile here, and then you jump into product updates right here at the bottom. This is where you find all of the betas. So this list is going to show you everything that you might want to join, that you might want to review, any updates that are not betas, that are just updates. It's all going to be in here. I strongly recommend any admins, anybody who's functioning in a semi-admin role, spend some time here, like multiple times a week, seeing what is going on. So in here, and for my slow load, I'll give that a second, it should pop up. You'll find all of the betas, and you can see the ones that are recommended to you. 96. You know what? I have 70. This is my demo portal, but I wouldn't be surprised if I jumped in and had 96 recommendations as well. But this is where you can see a lot of them might not be relevant to you, and you can look by product here. So you can also filter by product if you only want to see the ones that maybe you have. Like if you don't use Service Hub, then this is not relevant to you. So you could filter that away or just ignore it. But if you use, let's say, Content Hub, and you're a big fan of the content remix tool, maybe you want it. This could be really interesting to you. You can now use content remix on Google Drive files. So you can, so some betas you can request. That means they're private. You may or may not get into them. You can't really track whether or not you're going to be or what your progress is, but it just depends. Sometimes it's a time-based queue, first come, first serve. Sometimes it's a specific type of customer they're looking for, but you can request any beta. Sometimes it's a public beta, which is like this one, and you can just join it directly. When you join a beta, you can enroll sometimes only you, sometimes your entire account. and then you can just join that beta directly there. If you know of a specific beta that you would like to join, you can just go to all here, and then you can search for it. So for example, if we search for lookalike, okay, yeah, so unfortunately, I see this here now. Under products, you can see lookalike list is listed under marketing, which probably means that you do need a marketing license to be able to access lookalike lists. But that one, you can see the product there, so you can see whether it's relevant to you. Also, stuff that's going to be relevant to you will be in here, as opposed to you'll see stuff that's not necessarily relevant to you as well. But yeah, you can search for stuff there. The prospecting agent will be there. And you can have a look at all of the options. And I like the new to you tab. The recommended is okay. But I would have a look through most of this and just see what sort of tabs you like and what sort of things you want to review. And you can see joining all those betas there. So it is pretty simple to join them. And it's a good place to have a look at things that are live updates as well, which are just things that have been pushed live to everyone, regardless of whether they were a beta or not. All right, I think we are running up on time here, so I'm going to stop sharing. And if there are any other questions in the chat, please drop them into there as well. I'm also going to type our email addresses in if you would like to reach out. Marketing Plus Enterprise.
It says grayed out. So it must be enterprise or the beta's full.
Yeah.
Request access to the lookalikes. Okay. So while you're putting that in the chat, Erica, I have an update on the prospecting agent and getting that in the reporting. So we can't just grab that as a data source. So I'm in the custom report here, and under data sources, there's nothing for the prospecting agent. What I found is kind of a workaround that may get us close is contacts and sales email. There is a contact property currently enrolled in prospecting agent. And so we can set the logic for has ever been equals true. And then we can set a timeline for that. And then we have the timeline for our actual sales emails as well. And so this is saying, has a contact been enrolled in the last 31 days? And then have we sent them an email in the last 31 days? We can get close with that. One thing, because this is our demo portal, we're not actually sending emails, I can't see if the user ID is assigning to internal or to the actual person, like if it came from me directly, but we may be able to segment right here. So we can probably get close with our prospecting emails if we know we have this list, open rates, click rates, responses from there, close. I would imagine with the updates and when this is not in beta, we'll have full reporting just like we have with the sequences.
I see how can product updates help on marketing campaigns? I think it depends on whether there's a product update for a marketing campaign. I'm not sure exactly what you mean, but if there's a product update about campaigns, then that's there. If you are trying to do marketing campaigns based on HubSpot product updates, like if you're a HubSpot partner or something, then I think it's a good place to look for updates that you could send in an email. But otherwise, I don't think there's a ton of correlation there. All right, we are at 1 minute mark. So a reminder, our emails are in there. Our LinkedIn group is in the chat as well. There will be a follow-up email that comes out. I think there's going to be a survey in there. So if you do have a minute to take the survey and let us know how you like this presentation, that would be great. If you have any suggestions for other stuff, please let us know. If you'd like to see a leads specific presentation, I know that was a big one, a lot of questions about leads. Please let us know. We can work on that as well. We try to have at least a quarterly hug here, so please stay tuned, and we will be updating the LinkedIn group and the follow-up email with everything that you need. You'll also get the recording in another follow-up. Okay, thank you so much, everybody. Have a great day, and we will see you soon.
Well.
Thank you.